Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. There have been some bombshell evidence that has been dropped regarding this whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case. Now, Tory Lanez is currently spending 10 years in prison because he was found guilty of shooting at Megan Thee Stallion, and his legal team has been working hard for him to get an appeal because they feel like there was some foul play in court. And they recently released a lot of evidence related to this case, and some of the evidence was actually suppressed. So even though it's not new, it wasn't shown during the trial. So it is some bombshell evidence now that is being presented to the public. And Tory's appeal is currently pending. So if they do update the evidence, it's going to cause a much greater delay. And after Tory got stabbed 14 times in prison, his team is like, nah, he got to get out of here. So there is a sense of urgency to get him out. Now, we can get into some important facts here. For one, his DNA wasn't on the magazine of the gun, nor was it conclusively on the actual gun itself. So that kind of rules out the idea that he owned the gun and he shot it 5 times, because if he shot it 5 times, his DNA would conclusively be there. Not to mention, several witnesses claim that it was actually Kelsey who fired the gun, not Tory. Now, if you don't know, Kelsey, who was Megan's friend at the time, got into an argument and a whole fight with Megan after she found out that Megan slept with Tory behind her back. And so they got into it, and that whole fight led to shots being fired. And the driver, Jaquan, said that he saw Kelsey with the gun. He said that in an affidavit. Also, Kelsey's bodyguard, Bradley James, actually said in an affidavit that he overheard Kelsey admitting to shooting the gun 3 times. She shot it in the air, and Tory tried to intervene by grabbing her hand, and it went off 2 more times. And on the body cam footage, he told the police that he was just trying to help his girl. He called Megan his girlfriend.
Nah, I don't know that. No? I was just trying to help my girlfriend.
So if he said he was trying to help his girl, it kind of shows that he tried to intervene to prevent Kelsey from hurting Megan. That's what it seems. Now, the important testimony was from the independent witness, Sean Kelly. Sean Kelly initially told the police and also told an investigator in another interview that he saw Megan and Kelsey fighting and he saw Kelsey shoot. Okay. Now, when he was on the stand, he was saying something different, and Tory Lanez's father feels like the prosecutors had something to do with his changed testimony. So it feels like there were some dirty games being played. But what he initially told the police is he saw the girl, Kelsey, shoot, not Tory.
Yeah, he's saying the same. The gunfire broke me up.
Where was it?
Right here.
It was coming from here.
No, they were on my side. The girl opened the door. 2 girls fighting, and then they shot.
So the girl comes out of the rear passenger and she goes to the front passenger.
Yeah.
And she opens up the car door.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other, and they start fighting.
The 2 girls.
Yeah, I can see one like feet coming out trying to kick her, and the other one's fighting, and then the passenger gets out. So basically the car stopped, girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously that's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming, she starts hitting the girl. The girl then had to start, her feet come out, she starts to kick the girl away. One passenger, they get out, they start fighting here. They start fighting. The driver comes round and tries to sort of break it up. It gets a bit more violent, and between them, the girl then climbs back into the front driver passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
Then the gun, and the girl shoots into the gun. So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot? So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me.
This evidence was very important, and I think this was a part of the evidence that was suppressed, but it definitely shows you that Megan and Kelsey were clearly lying. They lied about not fighting each other. They actually fought viciously. That's why they both got injuries. And Megan said that Tory was the one shooting when you have 3 witnesses who claim otherwise.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy. And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance, and he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me.
You actually saw him holding it?
Yes.
Was anybody else standing next to him, or how was his positioning with it?
So it's the security guard driving, me and the passenger. Kelsey is behind me and Tory is behind the driver. Okay. So like he had to get over her to even shoot at me.
So is he out of the vehicle, or is it from inside?
So you know how you can like stand out of the car, like you're like standing over the door? That's how he was.
So like the door's open.
Yes.
And then he would be standing in the threshold, kind of almost.
But like over the window.
Okay, but leaning over the window. So he's actually still
in the car.
But kind of. Gotcha.
So when you hear Megan describe the incident, it doesn't really make sense, and it also doesn't line up with what the witnesses saw at all. She claims that she was on the passenger side and she got out of the car, and then Tory hopped over from the back seat of the driver's side to the passenger side and started shooting at her. Well, Jaquan, who was the driver, said he saw both Megan and Kelsey get out the car and start fighting. He had to break up the fight, and Kelsey took the gun out. So he saw Kelsey with the gun in her hand. Also, Sean Kelly said the same story. He said he saw the girls get out and they were fighting viciously. And then he said Kelsey looked like she was the one firing the gun. So Megan's story is just not adding up, and she didn't have anybody to corroborate her story either. Kelsey gave her own version of the events when she did that private interview with the prosecutors, and then she went on the stand, pled the fifth, and got her immunity, which is kind of something that a guilty person would do, I'm just saying. And then she said something different. She was acting like she didn't know what happened that night. So Kelsey wasn't a good witness to back up Megan's story, and also Megan's bodyguard, Justin Edison, did not testify on her behalf. He didn't even show up to court.
But one key witness has been noticeably absent. Her former bodyguard, Justin Edison, missing days before he was set to testify. His father, Harold, speaking out overnight.
I want the DA and Thee Stallion to leave my family alone.
Our hope is for peace for the Edison family and that Justin is safe.
So Justin, being another important witness who received that text from Kelsey saying, "Help, Tory shot Meg," did not show up and confirm the text message. And he wasn't missing. He just was doing another job somewhere else. So clearly he didn't want to be there. It's just weird that Megan had nobody to back up her story. In fact, Justin's family was asking Megan and the DA to leave them alone. So it seems like they really didn't want anything to do with Megan at all. Now, witnesses have alleged that Kelsey was the one who fired the gun, but there are questions being asked. Was Megan assaulted with the firearm, or was she injured by glass? Now, I think two things can be true. She could have been injured by gunfire, but we also know for a fact that she was injured by glass too. She said she was injured by glass. The police said it. One of the doctors who examined her said she was injured by glass, and another doctor said that her wounds were superficial with no fractures, which some might say, well, if she wasn't fractured or didn't have any deep wounds, how can she be shot? Well, another doctor named Dr. Milton Little said that she had bilateral gunshot wounds, and also he removed 3 fragments from her foot, and he gave the fragments to the police. But the weird thing about this is the fragments went missing. At least that's what the detective Ryan Stogner stated. He was asked, now the bullet fragments which were allegedly removed from Megan's ankles, they can't be located, correct? He said, correct. I find that to be very, very odd, honestly. It's also odd that none of the doctors were called to testify in court. But here are some of the clips that claim that Megan was injured by glass.
She cut herself when she stepped out. She cut herself when she stepped out.
It happened, so that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told, do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass.
She dropped a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself, getting out of the vehicle.
Okay.
What's that? Do you think we can go to jail? I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out.
We'll not go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay.
You got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you did it? Oh, man. I mean, no fuss.
So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Where we were coming from. We were just my phone stepping on glass. I didn't really cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day.
Now, Megan did say she initially lied about what happened because she didn't want to get in trouble with the police.
Soon as the police tell us all get out the motherfucking car, the police is really aggressive. You think I'm about to tell the police that we, us black people, got a gun in the car? You want me to tell the laws that we got a gun in the car so they can shoot all of us up? I'm thinking the doctors is the police, so I'm still trying not to tell them.
Not go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay.
Now, I can understand Megan not really saying what happened because being stopped by the police is a scary situation. It is. And also, she didn't want to go to jail. And she did say she is concerned about her image. That makes sense too. Now, Tory's legal team put together a whole website called 36hourslater.com. Y'all could go there and look through it if you want to. There was some suppressed evidence that wasn't presented in court that could have vindicated Tory. I mean, it's clear to me that Tory did not get a fair trial at all. But even still, a lot of people won't believe Tory just because they made up their mind not to. So I think at this point, we have to see the footage. And I will say this, if there is footage and if the footage shows that Tory is innocent, then a lot of people are going to be in trouble. Not just Megan and Kelsey, but the DA, the prosecutors, the LAPD, all the media companies who are running a smear campaign against Tory, and also Roc Nation's owners, Jay-Z and Desiree Perez. They are going to be in trouble. And there will be investigations and there will be some lawsuits. It's going to be a mess. And speaking of Desiree Perez, she currently is being sued by her own daughter, Demoree Hadley. Demoree claims that Desiree has been using money, power, and influence to tear her away from her husband, Javon. Desiree does not like her husband, and Demoree claims that Desiree had her husband falsely arrested 3 times, and she also says her mother had her falsely detained in a mental institution and placed in a drug rehab facility for no reason at all. She alleges that Desiree and her co-conspirators worked together with this doctor to have her wrongfully committed. And this doctor never met her or evaluated her at all, which is crazy. And Demoree tested negative for drugs, but they still had her in a rehab center, which is crazy. Demoree also alleges that Desiree hired private investigators to stalk her and her husband and harass them. She alleges that her mother had her home wiretapped and had cameras installed without her knowledge. She had trackers placed on her car. She had people hack into her iCloud and her phone. She claims that they have a whole team at Roc Nation that infiltrates people's data. Now, this is not the first time Roc Nation has been accused of having hackers.
Like in the whole labels, like motherfucking Roc Nation, the other motherfuckers. These niggas hiring all the hackers. These niggas hiring all the fucking hackers. They got all the shit hacked.
Demoree also talked about the amount of power that Desiree had. She had police in her back pocket. She could call doctors, therapists, judges, investigators, anybody if she needs to. Her daughter exposed some of the alleged tactics that she uses to gain a certain level of control. She even allegedly falsified evidence to give to the authorities, and that's what Demoree said in her lawsuit against her mother. And Desiree has learned the tricks of the trade because she was a part of a drug trafficking ring. She was a fraudster and a convicted felon. And then she became an informant and helped bring the cartel down. So she knows how to use the law to work in her favor, which is why it's not shocking to me when I hear conspiracy theories about her setting Tory up. Because if you even saw the reaction to Tory's conviction, Desiree didn't seem shocked at all. She clapped her hand and was like, yep, got him. And Megan was the one looking shocked.
Count one. They got him for the highest charges.
Now, NBC6 South Florida News did do a coverage on Demoree's story. It's actually very, very disturbing.
Demoree says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demoree, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demoree falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of Rock Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z.
The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demoree and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demoree in the lawsuit, which claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue. Demoree's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with prominent psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, seen here in body camera video, and others to have Demoree committed for a mental health evaluation. He ordered she be taken to Memorial Regional Hospital, where he is chief of psychiatry, and where results from drug tests taken upon admission were negative, according to records Demoree shared with us.
They told me your tox screens came out negative, and I go, I know.
While Demoree was at Memorial, her mother further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again in court records that Demoree suffered from severe drug abuse. A judge granted that petition.
They ran the test. They knew that she had no drugs in her system and she was not abusing drugs. And the fact that you can't do anything about it is scary.
No drugs had been in Demoree. Demoree was held at Life Skills until April 8th. She shared discharge paperwork that lists a diagnosis of persistent depressive disorder, which she disputes. No medication was prescribed. Court records show Demoree was able to leave that day after her mother voluntarily dismissed the case. But Demoree says the damage has been done, and she feels a system designed to keep people safe failed to protect her.
Money, influence, and power should not be something that's used, right, or abused to hurt innocent people.
This story right here is very disturbing, and it's honestly going to open up a whole can of worms. It's about to get real ugly at Rico Nation. I meant Rock Nation. But anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.